How do you prevent yourself from being overwhelmed by all the information out there about reinventing yourself? How do you find the information you need to take the first steps? That's what this video is all about. How's it going, Reinventors? I'm Amelia. This is Reinventing You, the channel where you can be inspired to take your own steps to reinvent your life so that you can live with joy, fulfillment, and purpose. I try my best to have 2 videos each week, but if you have not subscribed, you'll need to do that now. And don't forget to click on the bell notification so you'll know when I post a new video. If you've been here a while, I invite you to share this video with others who may be feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Now, this idea for this video is actually going to be in 2 parts. I want to thank Susan, one of my subscribers, who asked me these questions, and she had 2 parts to the question, and they sort of dovetail, kind of relate to each other, and I really felt like we needed to, or I needed to talk about them in 2 separate videos. And the 2 questions are: how do you not get overwhelmed with information and potential steps to take when reinventing? The next question is, how do I personally, that's Amelia, research through massive amounts of information to find the one step I need to start with? Like, what is the research with a purpose kind of idea? I love to find out information. When I'm doing a new video, no matter what the subject matter, I'm going to delve into the internet. And the internet is a great place to be, but you can easily get sucked down the rabbit hole, as I call it, and be led in all kinds of ways and areas. Now, if you are reinventing yourself, you're just starting out, I'm not going to go over how to figure out where you want to begin in your reinventing journey, but I have done a video about it. So if you would check this video out up here in the card, also it's in the description and in my comments, and that will kind of give you some guidance on where to start in your own reinventing journey. But once you've had that one thing you're going to start with, and remember, one thing, so you can avoid being overwhelmed when you start your reinventing journey. Once you have that one thing, then you need to start finding ways to implement it, finding ways to meet your goals, finding ways to meet your mission or your way you're going to order your life. And here is what you need to remember. The internet can be your friend, and it cannot be your friend. And I know that we are on the internet right now if you're watching this video, so that's kind of an interesting thing to say. But you are going on the internet to search for information. But remember, the internet is searching for information on you. About 10 years ago, I remember some futurist saying, I think it was Leonard Sweet, but I'm not sure about that, said that in the future, the biggest commodity would be information. And that is so true. We so much rely on Google. But Google is not just a place for us to get information and to look things up. Google is trying to get information from you. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to start a conspiracy theory, but it is the case. For instance, have you ever gotten online, you're looking for new bedding or a new bed, and you start looking online, you go to Amazon, you go to a couple other places, you Google places, and then you're on Facebook the next day, and all of a sudden there are all these advertisements for bedding and beds. Gee, I wonder what happened there. Well, Google has gotten information from you to sell to the advertisers, and they're trying to get your business. It's just the way the world works. So just remember that every time you get on the internet, your information is being pulled from wherever you are. Now, there are things that you can do on your phone or your computer to prevent that from happening. One of the things that you can do is you can buy a service. There are services that will kind of keep you incognito or keep you hidden from Google or whomever getting the information from you. But if you're not willing to buy a service, you can go incognito or private. Even on your phone you can do this. I've done this. I have an iPhone. I've gone private on searching on my iPhone. I also make sure on my iPhone, and I'm not going to go into this, but always make sure you have your location services turned off. Sometimes you need it if you're looking for like a restaurant or a certain place on a map, but there are ways to get around that. But Apple doesn't need to know wherever you are. Just remember that wherever you're going, whatever you're looking up on the internet's always getting information on you. So the best thing you can do when you are looking for information on something that you're interested in, it really is best to go incognito or private. Otherwise, it's like a constant loop. You go on, you're looking for some information on exercise. Is walking good enough? Do I need to start running? Do I need to add an elliptical or a rowing machine? What are some things? If you start looking that up and the internet, Google, knows that you're looking up, it's going to suggest more things for you under that information. So you may not be actually searching for new things, as Google will try to find things that have the same kind of information. So you'll find yourself, oh, well, this is what the internet told me. I've read it 6 times. Well, that may not be all the information that you need. So just keep that in mind. One of the things that I do personally when I am Googling anything is that I try not to just look at the first few items that Google brings up. And there's a couple of reasons for this. And I actually looked this up because I could not find this. And I remember my dog is 12, so about 11 years ago, we were looking for a trainer for our dog. And I went and Googled it. And I came up with this trainer, and he was the top of the list. Google, he was the top one. He was in our location. I had not turned off my location services on my PC, or I guess it was an Apple at that time. And so I contacted him, and he helped train our dog. Now, one of the things he told me was, he said he had done something, paid for something in order to rise higher in the rankings on the internet, on Google. Now, I don't know what that was. I never wrote it down. I don't know. I've looked it up. I really looked this information up. As best I can tell, if you are a local business, you can set up like a Google page. I'm trying to think if I had written that down. A business listing with Google. I remember doing this when I was a pastor. I remember the church, that was a Google listing, that Google would call me and I would, give certain information. And maybe that's what he was referring to. But when he told me that, it was like this aha moment, and I realized when I Google things on the internet, I cannot always trust that the best answer for me is the first 3, 4, really first page on Google on my computer. I usually will look over everything, and then a lot of times we'll go to the bottom and go to the next page or the next page before really looking into things. Now, these days you also have to be careful, because no matter where you are, you may think it's a result of your search. When it's an advertisement, it's going to say ad or sponsored, but it's very cleverly hidden. So you have to look carefully on wherever you go on the internet, and this even happens when you're going incognito and private. The other thing that you have to remember is that wherever you go on the internet, always verify the site and the author. I've had people post things on Facebook, and I've said, I don't think that's true, and I've gone to the site, I've checked out them, I've gone to a place like Fact Checker and trying to find out information on that particular site, or a lot of times if it's a shady site, it will not give who the author is. You don't know who that person is that wrote that article. So you just have to be careful when you're diving in and getting information on the internet. This also pertains to YouTube, and I'm not trying to put YouTube down, but let me tell you, one of the things that I have learned on YouTube is something called keywords, is to learn how to put keywords either in your description or your tags or your thumbnails in order to attract people, and in order for YouTube to push your video so that people will notice your videos and watch them. This is just a fact of life. This is what I have to deal with when I am posting my own videos. So when I go to the internet and I'm looking for things, I want to be able to do a lot more research and digging and not just accept the first few things that come up on YouTube. This is why I hate YouTube on my phone. You might like YouTube on my phone, on your phone, but for me, I feel like YouTube really pushes things I don't necessarily want to see or watch. I've got some ads that there's one person on, anyway, I won't get into that woman, but her ads are all over YouTube. I can't stand it. So I don't like YouTube on my phone. I will get on there, but I don't have a lot of choices. I prefer doing YouTube incognito when I'm really researching, because I know I can find more information and kind of delve a little deeper. Once you look things or watch things on YouTube, YouTube gets an idea of what you're interested in, and that's what they're going to push. They're also going to push videos that have advertisements because, hey, that's how they make money. It's just a fact. A lot of people just accept it, okay? This is not a perfect world. This is how you have to deal with. But when you're looking for information, you have got to be aware of all of this, because you do not want to be unduly influenced. You do not want that your information you're seeking to be biased. So here's another suggestion that I have for you. Find somebody trusted, whether it is a newspaper, magazine, YouTube person. Hopefully I'm trustworthy. Somebody else that you can say, okay, I'm going to follow this person and go some places that they recommend. Coming up soon, I'm going to have some recommended videos on reinventing yourself. I hope that'll be helpful for you. Here's another thing you've got to do. You got to get off the internet. Remember the library? Even in this time of pandemic, where you may not necessarily be able to go to the library, either email or pick up your phone. Ask for a, I want to say research librarian, and that's not the word. Anyway, call the library and say, I'm looking for information on exercise, and can you give me some resources? Because don't just ask for books. You can go on Amazon and look for books, but Amazon's the same thing. It's got an algorithm. It's going to look for some of the similar things that you're looking for. But books are not always where the information is. Sometimes they're in articles. Sometimes they're in journals. Sometimes the people at the library also know great websites to check out as well. So do the work. And let me tell you, you have got to do the work. But remember, when you've decided to reinvent yourself and you start looking for information, it can be overwhelming. I'm trying to help you get the information you need without being overwhelmed, and with going to appropriate sites and actually getting the information. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If it has, please give me a thumbs up. Like I said earlier, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Click on the bell. If you've already subscribed, please share this video. In the next video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how not to be overwhelmed once you get the information or you're seeking the information. So I hope you'll come back for that video as well. Have a great one.